All right, guys, we're back for round. What are we in? Eight review. Um, Honestly, this has probably been one of my worst rounds since last year. It felt like nothing was going my way. But to save you all the salt and everything, kind of got that out yesterday. This was meant to come out yesterday, but my computer decided to do an update and broke every single audio driver in the PC. So that was fun. Never ever updating my shit again. So to go into the team, um, I mean, there's a lot of problems now from a team that I thought last week was kind of like set. Like last week we didn't score great, but it was like, all right, well we're setting things up. There's rookie stuff, whatever, but team set up now. Didn't happen that way, and I'm really regretting the trades I made last week, even if in reality they weren't that bad. I did Steele out to Sarong. The idea here was I don't want an injured Steele. He did end up scoring good. I think he had like a 112, 114. But I don't want to be dealing with the injured Steele, right? Like, that was against North Melbourne. The game was never even like close. So, yeah, I think this is a fair upgrade. It's a sideways, but sideways upgrade. So I don't think that's an issue. Grundy at Sweet. I'm kind of regretting this. I should have not gotten Merritt in and just kept Grundy and maybe gone like Naismith to Sweet. Paid a bit extra for that. Really regretting this second half of the trade, or say 2/3 of the trade. First part, I'm all right with. Sharp to Merritt, I mean, it's an upgrade to a premium. Um, but yeah, it's the Grundy to Sweet that's kind of killing me because I don't know how competent Sweet is as a Supercoach ruckman. But anyway, so Dacos had a 150, had the vice captain on him up until the game starts at like 7:30 on a Friday night. I reckon I had the vice captaincy on him till about 7:15, and then those dark thoughts would start creeping in, and I put it on Sheasel. I think my thought process was Dacos could give me like the worst possible score is like a 121. Because what do you do with that? You can't take it, it's too low, but then you don't take it, and then what's your captain score like 103, right? Like, I'd imagine some people, like, say that happened, this theoretical scenario, scores 120 or something like that, don't take it, you captain Tom Green, which we'll go into later. But yeah, obviously should have kept the vice captaincy on him, but the idea was I go to someone that's either going to give me a really good score or a really bad score, instead of like a middle ground person. In reality, it was stupid. Of course, Dacos was going to score good. He's always big in big games. Sheasel 73. Man, he's playing half forward. Well, not necessarily half forward, but he's playing in the middle, and that leads to him having to move up the field into the forward line. Feeling a little bit of a cold. Um, right now, I wouldn't say this is a trade out, but it could be. Um, Unless he gets like forward DPP, then like you could keep him for that, because he's still going to have games where he scores good, right? Like just by virtue of him being a very good player. Even in the middle, I kind of see him going good. I don't see what the point of moving him from the halfback line into the midfield is when all of modern football, 2024 football, is basically using a halfback as a midfielder already. All you're doing is moving him into a role that he's not comfortable with. Um, I don't see the point there. I really didn't see much of this game. It was kind of caught in like the weird spot because like I was working, so I got to see this one. But then this one I basically missed because I was getting ready to go to this game. So like caught a little bit like on the train and stuff, but didn't really see anything. And the parts I saw, like the North just are terrible. With all the priority picks they've had, I don't know how they're still so unwatchable. But yeah, whatever. Um, Not trade yet. could be in about 2 weeks' time. He will lose money, but by then, everyone's probably going to have the defense finished. And then it's like, well, do you just hold him a bit more? He could get forward DPP or mid DPP or something like that. I don't know. I don't think we're actually going to be trading out Sheasel. I think we're just going to be like repurposing him somewhere else. Houston kind of let me down. I thought he was a lot better than what his Supercoach score shows. So like he had, his 20 something odd touches. Like, okay, so I really don't like this Supercoach update. That, and you have to scroll all the way down here. It was better when it was all one page, in my opinion. Like 20 touches. Now that I look at the stats, it's not as good, but it felt like he was a bit more impactful, like just watching the game. I mean, yeah, that makes sense now why he's so low. But yeah, Houston's been good for the season. His break even is pretty high now, 145. I imagine he misses that against Geelong. And then, like, say he misses that, he comes down to like 580. I could see that being the trade-in target for a lot of people. Even now at the 600k mark, because of the next guy, Elliot Yeo is out for 2 weeks. Typically, it's like 1 is hold, 2 is you can trade, and then 3 is a must trade. In terms of like injury week progression stuff. Probably going to have to trade in this week, especially because I'm still high in rank. Like top 100 and whatever the hell I was is still very high in rank. Like that's still 0.001% of players. So probably going to have to trade Joe this week. If you're in the same situation where, like, say you're just playing for leagues or something like that, right? Like this season has been harsh to start, man. Like, I don't know how I've skipped so much like carnage, but I would not forgive people for like already at round 8 tuning out. Typically it's the bye rounds where people start to tune out. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than half of the teams in Supercoach are dead teams right now, like not being looked at. If they're getting looked at, it's like for one trade a week and that's it. Yeah, but say you're in the situation where you're still playing and stuff, you could go Yo to Houston if you don't have him. I already know who I'm going to bring in, and it's the most dishonest player in all of Supercoach history, right? Like, oh my god. I hate watching that guy, so I have to bring him in. Naz actually had a good game. So, like, again, the little bit I watched, it did look like St. Kilda were trying to move it a bit more, instead of, like, what they were doing, like, against the Dogs and stuff like that, where they just couldn't move the ball properly. And when they did, it would end up in a drop mark. It would end up in, like, this Dogs game was really poor for them. Like, kick into a 2-on-1, 3-on-1, kick into a pack where, like, it's an inefficient kick, right? Like, you're not getting anything out of that. They're trying a little bit less of that and a bit more, like, play around the wings, play around the central, like, type of stuff, like actual kick-to-kick football, which is what 2024 is now. It's super uncontested. Naz is really good for that. He's a very good kick. He's pretty accurate. Like, he's not the most accurate kick in the league, but he's got the speed and he's got a fair bit of kicking accuracy. That's basically like what every team wants nowadays. Probably going to be a trade out a couple of weeks from now. Don't have to worry about it yet, which is it's saving my team at the moment. Roberts kind of hit his ceiling. Just a bad game for Sydney. Like, good game for Sydney, but bad game for Sydney defenders, Supercoach wise. Just didn't get much of it. Even, you look at Blakey or something like that, who's been racking it up this year. Didn't really get a ton of it. What did he score this week? 43? Jesus. Like, he didn't get subbed or anything like that, at least not to my knowledge. Yeah, just didn't. I mean, you do all this and stats still don't work properly. Premium service. Okay. Yeah. With all the ad problems and Supercoach, I really don't like how this site's going. Might start playing fantasy next year. But yeah, just not great for Sydney defenders. You could definitely hold him to the buys, by the way. So I'm gonna trade Roberts. Spoiler, but like you could definitely hold this guy. Like, what is his next few? Uh, Man, I hate this update. Fremantle Carlton Dogs. That's a fine run, right? Like Fremantle, there's gonna be one guy that takes all the points because how he plays. But Carlton's not terrible. Dogs isn't bad. Um, yeah, you got Geelong, which isn't great, but it's at the SCG, so it should help him. Adelaide is pretty good. I mean, up until he's by, what is he? He's around 12. You could just hold this guy. You don't have to trade him at all. This is probably the highest he's going to get for like value. And in my case, I can upgrade with it, so it's just worth me trading him. Closey has also just hit the rookie wall, but we've seen this in Goulden as well, who was like the point scoring comparison because he was going to break the record. Um, he put up those three huge scores, and then it was just kind of trailing a little bit, and then he'll kick it up again second half of the year. Can't see him getting dropped. Young player playing for a young team that's trying to just find these pieces that they can use to go forward. I don't think he's getting dropped or anything like that, so pretty safe pick to just leave on the bench and every now and then maybe you loop him on if he scores over a ton. In the midfield, Captain Sarong kind of goes against what I normally do. I never really trade in a player and captain him that same week, but I thought Sarong against Richmond, this was like a 145 type of game, but there was one guy who took all the points because he just hangs around behind the ball and jumps up and down for the ball. It's the Supercoach equivalent of like playing Silas Jungle in League. You're just playing dishonest, right? Like you're flipping the game on one play, but like that's what I think of when I think of Luke Ryan playing. I think of Silas Jungle. I watch a lot of League. I don't really play it because I'm not really good at it, but I do like watching it. Yeah, so Sarong had all of his points stolen. Merritt was solid. He kicked 3 goals, which kind of saved the score. I hope he's not actually half forward. That would suck. He still had his 29 touches. Tackle count could be a little bit higher, but yeah, like the 3 goals did kind of save him a little bit. I think his efficiency was really poor. But West Coast is not the easy kill it's been, right? Like, sure, like I'm a West Coast fan, right? Like I'm gonna defend the team. They look so much different now, right? Like from just last year. Um, it's a completely different team. So like they're not the easy killed. Like they've got West Coast, expect a 140. They're a lot better. In saying that, I do think Collingwood are just gonna smash them by 100, but that's more so like Collingwood is that good versus West Coast is that bad. Rao 65. This really is just his first very very poor score of the year. I think he had an 80 or something like that. I want to say earlier on. Can I scroll, please? No, 99. I mean, North Melbourne this week should get at least a 120. Geelong's going to be a hard one for him. And then Carlton should be all right for him. Shouldn't be too bad. That actually is going to be a good game. Gold Coast versus Carlton. Not too worried here. Still one of my favourite players to watch, so I'm probably not going to trade him out or anything. But yeah, not a great score. Kind of adds to the carnage of this week. Bont, 142. He was immense. Hawthorn, they need to figure their shit out. Like, I don't know what is going on down there. They still won the game, but they won the game because Bevo's terrible as a coach in 2024. But in terms of play, Hawthorn is really not playing that great. Like, just run of the game, what they're trying to do isn't great. But, and you see that because if you can't, it's like Richmond, right? So Richmond give up such big Supercoach scores. That's definitely one of the reasons why they lose so many games, right? Like, Supercoach isn't a direct correlation with reality, like real AFL playing, but there is a bit of like, oh, okay, well, if you're that bad that you're giving up these huge scores, it's probably something to say about your team. But yeah, they win this game because Bevo can't coach in 2024. Needs to be gone. I don't know if Bevo's going to hold out the year, especially if they get locked out of finals early. I don't know. I think that team is. I think the Dogs team is kind of in shambles at the moment because you've got a lot of these older guys, which their value isn't high, and you have to play them, but you can't play them because you need some youth in there, right? Like Riley Sanders has to play, Jamara has to play, Sam Darcy has to play. You want to get some of these young defenders in the game, but you've got all these guys that really can't leave the team. Like McRae should be playing every week, Treloar should be playing every week, Bont definitely. Caleb Daniel probably does deserve to play every week. I know it's like because of his size, you have to be careful with the matchups, but he quality of player should be playing every week. Lob maybe shouldn't play every week, but would at other clubs. So I don't know why the Dogs really went and got him. I think I can think of at least like 5 other Victorian clubs that could have used him. But yeah, so Dogs list in a bit of like a weird patch at the moment. In saying that, one good off season could just fix their list altogether, right? It really is just like a one good off season. Make some like hard decisions, like what do you do with McRae? Do you trade him? Do you keep him? Do you let his contract run out? Do you trade Treloar? I don't think there's any value in Treloar at the moment because of his injury history, but some teams would probably jump at him. A North Melbourne or something like that, right? But anyway, so Butters was good. Showdown game, always expected a good score from him. 124 is about right. Could have been a bit higher, but he loves the Tim Taranto hack kick out of a stoppage. Sam Walsh lost about 10 points worth in scaling just because of the Dacos goal, which is crazy. Never before have I seen a defensive play impact Supercoach or like lack of defensive play. That's never been a thing. But here it is. 33 touches, 3 tackles, 4 marks, 2 frees against, but that's not enough to hold him under a ton. I don't know. He should have tonned here. It should have been like a 102, 103, something like that. But that Dacos goal at the end, good goal, like good play, everything like that. But I don't get why he lost Supercoach points for that. There's nothing in the key that talks about defensive plays. Took was fine, I thought. Just a kind of off game for Gold Coast, honestly. Brisbane just beat the brakes off of him. And then the bench, I mean, everyone played. That's probably all you can hope for. Dempsey, I thought, was a little bit better than what the score says, but he did go missing in the second half. Forward line, Heaney was good. Not necessarily captain good, but good player. Flanders, he was kind of like the bright spot out of Gold Coast this week. The only player that kind of stayed around it. They did move him from the half-back line back into the midfield. I don't know if that's going to stay. I think they were getting, like I said, the brakes beat off of him by Brisbane. So we'll see if that keeps up. I don't think it will. I think Dimmer is pretty set with he wants to blame off half-back. Because I keep saying it, it's just how modern football is. You want young, creative, athletic half-backs. That's what you want. Versus like the old days, you really wanted defensive players on half-back to kind of stop the speed of offense. Now you want less defense to cause your offense to have speed. It's just kind of how the footy's evolved. Harley, I think he cramped up during the game. From all West Coast reports, he's fine. He's probably going to play this week. If he doesn't, it's not too big of an issue because I'm not going to be trading any forward guys. So I'm going to have a way to still get a score on field that I'm not like hating. Fife was the sub. There was a little bit of talk of it during the week, but I thought, they probably wouldn't make him sub. They'd just manage him. And then when he wasn't managed, I thought, nah, he's not going to be the sub. Lo and behold, he was. So that sucks. It does kill his cash gen, but I still think with the state of the forward line being so bad at the moment, it is horrendous. He's probably going to still be top 6. So not really worth trading him at the moment. I mean, you could if it gets you to a upgrade that you're happy with, but I am really not happy with any of the forward upgrades. So people are going to bring up Zorko again. I am still heavily against trading in Zorko. He is 35. He has a horrid soft tissue injury history. I would, before trading in Zorko, I would trade like Harry Mackay, like dead ass. Like I would not touch Zorko. Dylan Moore is a very good player, but if you trade him in, know that you will get like a 50 score. That shouldn't be like deterrent because of how bad the forwards are this year, but like you will get low scores, but you will also get high scores. It's just roll the dice with him, right? He's a half forward who is just a very good player, and that's what's leading to points. Rankin is also good, but I mean, unless they really sort out their midfield, like specific rotations, they sort it out. Rankin is getting 35% of CBAs. If that's good enough for you, then bring him in. But I mean, the forwards are just terrible. Shays couldn't score. That's like 2 weeks in a row where he hasn't been able to score. Caldwell is, I think, hurt. Jezza, I mean, he jazzed his pants. Like, what was... At the end, he had a shot at, I think it was tying it, and just absolute shank. Myers, I don't really think is an option. Hogan, not an option. Curnow, no, you wouldn't. No key forwards, right? And no Zorko. I think Jack Hayes is more of an option than Zorko is, by the way. If you bring in Zorko, watch next week. He will pull his hammy and be out 5 weeks. And then everyone's going to be complaining, oh, I should get my trade back. No, you shouldn't. You trade in a 35-year-old man who's got a bad injury history. Powell is terrible, but have to keep him. Darcy, fielded him this week, and I mean, just, yeah, terrible. The thought was because Jamara was back in, he'd be playing that ruck style. I didn't realise, in a team with Norton and Jamara, and did Lob still play? I can't remember. With those two in, they send Sicily to the rookie. I mean, not rookie, but like what's he played, like 5 games? Yeah. That sucked. Obviously, I would have liked to have Darcy Wilson on field, but there was no way to field him. Yeah, because I think Geelong had already played or something. Or if I wanted to field him, I wouldn't be able to loop. And I thought like Sheezel was actually going to score good. But anyway, so into trades. What was I doing? Roberts out. Yo out because of injury. I really hate trading him here because he's been so good to watch. And then I just need a rookie that's kind of maxed out. Dempsey will do the job. What do I have to do? I have to move you down, which will get me Darcy Jones, who I'm not completely sold on, but it looks like he's got a fair, like, his floor is probably going to be around 40 to 50. So just not someone to field every week, but someone that you can field in some weeks, kind of like against bad defenses and stuff like that. And then I'm just going to finish off my defense. It's done, right? Like, it's not done. Obviously, Naz should be Tom Stewart. I think Tom Stewart is kind of like who I've mapped out to be a top 6 defender. Yeah, 1, 2. I mean, Sheezel's weird, but like, let's just say he goes back to defense, right? 1, 2, 3. Yo's hurt. 4, 5, and then take your pick of 6, right? Could be Whitfield, but I mean, like you're prone to bad scores. Could be Hayden Young, but you saw early in the year there's a couple of bad scores. Sinclair, I don't really see this year. I think there's too many mouths in the St Kilda defense. I think Tom Stewart is the one I've got here. I didn't realize Max Holmes got defense. That's actually kind of an option, to be honest. At 500k, I don't know. I don't know if at 500k, but maybe if you got him at like 450 or like say around here, maybe it's an option. But see, he gets used a lot for Geelong. Bailey Dale, it was a good cash jump opportunity, but I don't think it's a full season thing. I don't think he's going to finish top 6. Zach Guthrie's not a top 6 player. Yeah, I don't think Naz is either. I thought he was for a bit. I thought he could kind of like sneak by in like the 8 to 10 range, but I mean 6 to 10 range, but yeah, probably not. So it's going to be a luxury upgrade is Naz. So we're going to leave it like that. Means defense is done. Don't have to worry about like fielding a rookie or anything like that. I need one midfielder, which could be a couple of guys. Honestly, it could be Steele. Like say second half of the year, kind of heals up a little bit. Let's see. How can I midfield average? Don't count Heaney, because Heaney's like everyone's using Heaney as a forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dacos doesn't count. He doesn't count 7. So I've got what's that? 7 of the top 10. Not a bad thing. And then that would make 8, like a Neil, a Dunkley, a Steele, an Anderson. Who would I like out of them? I'd really like for Petrarca to come good because I think he's capable of huge scores, like a 160, 170. But current Melbourne midfield, I really don't want any part of. Oh, as for, where is he? Clayton Oliver. I think if your team is like really struggling, you're struggling for cash and everything, I think this is just a full send it move. Definitely not a bad trade in, but I don't need him. I've got, like I said, 7 of the top 10, 7 of the top 11 midfielders. I don't need him, but say you do, go after him. I think it's fine. But he's not like all the way back yet. Darcy Parish, I wouldn't touch. Seeing his form early in the year where he was like averaging, I want to say like 22 touches or something like that, 23. I think this is kind of like a written off year for him. But the last 2 years looked very, very good. We'll see. At 528, it's still value. I'd say anywhere like under 600 is pretty good value. But yeah, we'll see on him. I'm probably not going to go after that one. Saligo, wouldn't touch, honestly. Like at the same price, at less, I'd go for Oliver, and then for a little bit more, I'd go for Parish. McKercher, oh my god, I forgot about him. Okay, so you can bring him in. People are going to meme you for bringing him in, or you traded out someone just to bring him back in. He's 300k with a break even of -41. A -61. Yeah, you can definitely bring him in. That's so annoying. Man, why did he have to get subbed and like hurt and everything like that? That's so annoying. I mean, all I had to do was really hold him for one more week, something like that. Damn. Damn. It's a shame. Could really use to play like that right now, but is what it is. That's what I'm going to be going for this week. It is the last boost used, but it finishes off my defense. And what do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4 players. Because I think one of these two is a keeper. Between Fife and Reed, probably Reed more so, because I still do think Fife will get injured this year. Just like not hoping injuries on anyone, but like you look at his injury history, it is more likely than not he gets hurt. And then as for who do I field, Essendon and Richmond, I probably prefer Richmond. Vice captains, I think you have to go with Bond in one of them. Bond captain, and I don't mind Gorn. I don't mind. I think I'm going to go Gorn. It's another Saturday game. Oh, wow, they put them on the same time. I guess North are terrible. You have to put another game on. Yeah, I'm going to go Gorn. And then my loop would be obviously McCulloughy if he plays, doesn't play. I have Naismith. I'd also have. I wouldn't have Hoare. Yeah, well, I'll go with that. I think that's fine. But yeah, I'll see you all next week. Tasty out.